This is not the life that I want to live.
And I hate it.
Don't hurt my leg right there.
1, 2, 3.
My life is hard. When you get to be super morbidly obese, it's very hard.
Mary, I can tell that you're pretty smart, but being smart and being self-destructive is a bad combination. So you need to decide if you want to live or die right now. You're not going to be around much longer if you keep doing this.
Picture this, James L.B. Bonner, a name that rings bells for anyone following the emotional roller coaster of my 600-pound life. So let's dive into the darkness. James hailed from the Deep South, South Carolina, to be exact. He was adopted as a newborn, fulfilling his family's long-held dream of having a son. Now, if you were the only boy among 3 sisters, you'd probably think you hit the jackpot, right? Hello, everyone. Before diving into the stories, the people who never gave up on my 600-pound life, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. From impossible odds to inspiring victories, these stories are sure to captivate you. So let's get started.
So it was like everyone was raising me, including my aunt. So I spent a lot of time with my Uncle Sam and my Aunt Dora. I called them Ma too and Dad too. I was always excited to go stay with my aunt and uncle because every time I'd get down there, the first thing she'd do was go open up the cabinets and say, "What you want?" It was always beef sticks or pig in a blankets or snack cakes. I guess that's when I started associating that.
Spoiled, adored, and doted on, James had all the attention a kid could want, and all the treats too. It's every kid's fantasy to have an endless supply of candy, but let's be real. When the candy jar never empties, the dream quickly turns into a calorie-laden curse. James developed a love for food that spiraled out of control, like a runaway train with no brakes.
And by the time I was 8, I was already 150 pounds. But when I was almost 9, Aunt Dora got diagnosed with cancer, and she ended up passing away.
I'm telling you, when his ma too died, it's like this little boy was just crushed. It's just like his whole world fell apart.
I'm 29 now, and it's still the hardest loss I've ever went through.
By the time James was 12, the scales tipped over 200 pounds. That's not just chubby folks, that's dangerously overweight. By 17, he'd ballooned to a staggering 400 pounds. The weight wasn't just a number, it was a ticking time bomb strapped to his body, and it exploded in the most brutal way possible. With his health in free fall, James had no choice but to abandon football, the one thing that brought him joy and a sense of belonging. You know that sinking feeling when you lose something you love? Multiply that by 1,000 and you might get close to what James felt.
LB was a good player, and when he was a sophomore in high school, he won Offensive Player of the Year, so that's a big achievement for somebody being a sophomore, and I was proud of him.
But that couldn't last because I started to get so big it affected my health. I was 17 and over 400 pounds at that point. So I quit football. And I felt like I was letting everybody down, especially my dad.
But just when you think the story couldn't get any worse, the universe decided to throw a wrench in his life on Mother's Day of all days. James was out riding four-wheelers with his buddies, just trying to enjoy a bit of normalcy. And then, bam! Tragedy struck. A horrific accident left him with a foot injury so severe that amputation was the only option. Think about that for a second. 1 minute, you're cruising through the woods. The next, you're staring down the possibility of losing a leg. And let's not even get started on the challenge of adapting to a prosthetic leg when you're already battling a body that feels like it's working against you.
I knew it wasn't a good idea at my weight, but I wanted to have some fun. The last trail we were on is where I ended up getting into my accident, shattering a bunch of stuff in my foot. And after a failed surgery attempt, I ended up with a bone infection. and it left me with only a few options, and the option we went with was amputation.
But James wasn't ready to throw in the towel just yet. Enter Dr. Nowzaradan, the man with the plan, the savior of the morbidly obese. James saw Dr. Now as his last shot at a life worth living, and he threw everything he had into it. Through sheer willpower and Dr. Now's program, James managed to shed an astonishing 316 pounds. Post-surgery, he slimmed down to 326 pounds, and the world got a glimpse of a new James, hopeful, determined, and sharing his progress on social media like it was his lifeline. But behind those posts, there was a storm brewing.
So if you keep going like this, you'll be in the 800 soon. And you won't last much longer after that.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So how did you end up at this point?
I got a bad habit of binge eating, binge drinking, eating real late at night.
So what do you eat when you do that?
I eat a lot of fried food, or burger, or wings.
Okay. Do you get one?
No, sir.
Okay, so you're just getting bigger and bigger.
In August of 2018, James took to social media with a cryptic message, something about facing his demons head on. It's the kind of post that makes you pause and wonder what's really going on behind the scenes. Sadly, the answer came just days later when the police found James at his home in Lexington, South Carolina, dead from a self-inflicted wound. He was just 30 years old. 30 years. A life that was supposed to be full of second chances, snuffed out in an instant.
I know you've heard a lot about me, and I'm I've made a lot of mistakes, but I'm still your dad, and I went off. I was like, actually, you're not my dad. I want nothing to do with you. You know, you're a horrible excuse for a human being.
What'd he get arrested for?
Drug possession.
There's one thing I'm thankful for.
At 45, Larry Myers wasn't just battling his scale. He was locked in an all-out war with his body. Picture this: asthma, sleep apnea, thyroid disease, and depression, all lined up like the 4 horsemen of his personal apocalypse. But wait, it gets worse. Severe lymphedema in his right leg pretty much turned him into a human statue. Moving around? Forget it. His story could fill a tear-jerking drama, the kind that leaves you clutching your chest like you've just lost your last dollar at the slot machine. But let's dive a little deeper into the messy reality of Larry's life.
Right leg is a mass of hardened lymphedema tissue, which makes it significantly larger than my left, and it's very painful. The most difficult part of my day is getting up off the floor. It takes all my strength, and it pains me a lot. Then once I'm up, my lymphedema pulls me down, and walking is very, very difficult, and it hurts bad.
Imagine being so big that even the simple act of cleaning yourself feels like trying to climb Mount Everest in flip-flops. For Larry, cleanliness wasn't just a preference, it was an obsession. The guy had a germ phobia so intense that even Howard Hughes would have told him to take it down a notch. But the kicker? He didn't just take showers, he basically marinated himself in bleach. Yeah, you heard me right. Bleach. I bet his skin was practically crying out for mercy, but in Larry's world, nothing was too extreme when it came to fighting off imaginary germs.
Even though I'm in constant pain, the best, kindest, politest way that I can say it, I'm very flexible, and I do what I have to do to get all the way into the tub and clean myself, because I'm a germaphobe. I make sure that I'm thoroughly clean. I have to use bleach on my body because it's the only way I can feel truly clean. I don't overdo it where I put burn marks on myself, but I do use bleach.
Back in the day, when Larry wasn't busy turning every meal into an Olympic event, he was a hell of a singer. And I don't mean just any singer. This guy had a voice that could make angels weep. His passion for gospel music was the real deal. And he wasn't just confined to the church choir. He was out there, strutting his stuff at events like the Black Expo, making audiences lose their minds. And then came the Cotton Club in Harlem. Oh yeah, that. Cotton Club, where his performance was so off the charts that a big-time producer took notice. Next thing you know, Larry was staring down the barrel of a record deal, ready to live out the dream that so many aspiring musicians never quite reach. It was the kind of offer that'd make you wonder if maybe, just maybe, all the heartache was worth it.
I think they just looked at how he sung because his voice was like something I never heard before. It would make you want to stand up if you couldn't stand, clap your hands if you couldn't clap, because there was something about him and how he praised God.
I felt relieved to finally experience acceptance of my peers at school, and my life outside of home finally started to improve.
But life wasn't done, kicking Larry in the teeth. The emotional roller coaster took another nosedive when he lost both his mom and one of his sisters within just 8 months. If that's not enough to make someone spiral, I don't know what is. And spiral he did, straight into a 12-day coma during his mom's funeral. That's right, a coma. But here's the thing about Larry, no matter how many times life knocked him down, he just wouldn't stay down. He spent over 2 years in a nursing home, fighting his way back from the brink. And he didn't stop there. With the help of gastric sleeve surgery, Larry shed over 500 pounds, finally glimpsing the light at the end of a very dark tunnel.
I was in a wheelchair. I couldn't even walk from here to there. And before I knew it, I was 940 pounds. I was too big to take care of myself, and I had to hire a home attendant to help me with the most basic things. I was barely hanging on. And then one day, my attendant came and found me in a coma. He called the ER, and they admitted me to the hospital.
But of course, life had to throw one more curveball his way. Another sister passed away, and just like that, Larry's old habits came knocking. He started piling on the pounds again, slipping back into the same destructive patterns. But this time, something was different. Larry wasn't ready to just roll over and let his demons win. This setback turned into a wake-up call. The kind that shakes you to your core. Realizing he wasn't done fighting, he reached out to Dr. Nowzaradan, the only person who might just be crazy enough to take him on.
That's really upsetting to see. Very upsetting. I was expecting a lot better than that. So I guess I can forget about any type of surgery approval today. Come in.
Hello, how y'all doing?
Hi, how are you?
By the end of that year, Larry made a bold move to Houston, Texas, determined to start fresh. And guess what? He dropped another 119 pounds. His journey is like a Shakespearean tragedy with a dash of hope. A story of heartache, struggle, and a relentless pursuit of something better. Larry Myers may not have a happy ending just yet, but one thing's for sure, he's not giving up without a fight.
So far, you have lost 119 pounds in 1 year, which is what you should have lost in the first 3 months. And still after 1 year, you're still using the walker.
Right.
So you shouldn't be right now at this point using the walker. You should have improved that you could walk independently.
When I don't use the walker, it makes me feel a little wobbly, but I'll do better.
That's good. But Larry, I see your hard work recently, and I'm proud of you for losing weight consistently in last year.
If you're inspired by these incredible stories, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Ring that notification bell so you never miss an update. Imagine growing up with food as your best friend and worst enemy. For Lisa, it started as a kid when her parents split up, and suddenly, the one thing that seemed reliable was food. Not just any food, but the kind that you could bear your emotions in. A cake, for instance. But here's where it gets twisted. Her mother, in a move that would make any psychotherapist cringe, decided that a fitting punishment for sneaking a taste was to force Lisa to eat the whole cake. Now, if that isn't a recipe for a future appearance on My 600 Pound Life, I don't know what is.
I didn't understand, so I just took my finger and just rubbed all the icing off the cake. And my mama called me and she said, I know ain't nobody done this but you. And she sat me down and said I had to eat the whole cake. But after about an hour, my dad came in and he throwed it in the trash can. My dad always saved me.
And then, in a twist that only life could throw at you, Lisa finds herself immobile, trapped in a bed, watching her body transform into the very thing that killed her mother. That's right, she was bedridden in the same bed where her mother had died from obesity-related issues. Talk about living your worst nightmare. At this point, you'd think the universe had thrown enough at her. But nope, it wasn't done. The real wake-up call came when she discovered maggots crawling in the folds of her skin. Yes, you heard that right, maggots. If that doesn't make you rethink your life choices, I don't know what will.
And is clearly not happy about her situation. We need to see what's going on with her.
Oh, don't grab my leg, please. Oh.
2, 3.
Ow!
We either have a serious situation.
I'm sorry, girl.
You made it. Or she's overly dramatic. But we are going to start by being optimistic with her and see what we can accomplish to get her life turned around.
Lisa's arrival at Dr. Now's office was nothing short of a spectacle, requiring 7 paramedics just to get her out of bed and into an ambulance. 7. Despite the grand entrance and her initial determination, Lisa soon discovered that changing a lifetime of habits isn't as easy as flipping a switch. Dr. Now's program is not for the faint-hearted. It's brutal, it's demanding, and it's exactly what Lisa needed. But here's the thing about personal demons. They don't just disappear because you want them to. And Lisa's demons? They were stubborn as hell.
You are not willing to lose any weight. You're not willing to change your habit.
I just don't have no willpower anymore.
Okay.
It's gone.
Right.
It's gone. And if that's all this is, I'd rather you just send me back to my house and leave me alone because this is not helping me. It's not helping me.
What kind of help you need?
I'm trying, but this is not helping me.
And then, just when you think the story can't get any darker, Lisa's journey comes to an abrupt and tragic end. After months of struggling, in August 2018, Lisa Fleming, aged 50, died of a heart attack in her Texas home. The irony here is painful. After everything, Lisa had managed to lose 200 pounds and was finally eligible for the surgery that could have changed her life. But as her daughter Danielle put it so poignantly, her body was tired, and it just gave out.
Oh my God. Hi, babies. Say hey, Gigi. Oh my God. Yeah, get her. Give me some. Give me my sugar, girl. Oh my goodness. I miss my babies.
I really came down here to find out what was going on and see if he was really losing some weight.
Kelly Mason tipped the scales at a jaw-dropping 725 pounds. Now, imagine trying to get through the day with that kind of weight bearing down on you. It wasn't just about the physical weight, though. Kelly was also carrying a heavy load of health issues, including high blood pressure, heart problems, type 2 diabetes, blood clots, and arthritis. Standing for more than a few minutes was a mission impossible, and that's not an exaggeration. She lived alone, with her only lifeline being her devoted father, who checked in on her regularly.
And I feel trapped in his body. And every day is painful. Every day is a bad day. And walking is extremely difficult. Every step is torture. I can only stand at 3 to 5 minutes because it's like you feel the weight and my back feels like somebody's stabbing it. It feels like a sharp pain in my ankle.
Kelly Kelly's struggle with weight started early. We're talking childhood, a time that should have been carefree, but was instead marked by instability and tragedy. Raised by her grandparents while her mother was off traveling for work, and her father was busy with another family, Kelly's world was rocked at just 5 years old. That's when she watched her grandfather die of a heart attack right in front of her. A 5-year-old should never have to witness something like that. From there, her life took a nosedive. Living with her mother, who relied heavily on fast food to get by, laid the groundwork for a lifetime of battling the bulge.
My mom, she traveled and she wasn't really around. And my dad, had another family. I would say I had a great childhood at that point. But when I was 5, my grandfather died in front of me. He had a heart attack. So when my grandfather died, everything just started going wrong. My grandmother moved into a senior citizens building, but you couldn't have a kid living with you. So I saw her less and less, and I felt abandoned.
In a desperate attempt to turn her life around, Kelly made the bold decision to travel to Houston to see Dr. Now. But let's not sugarcoat this. Getting to Houston was no easy feat for Kelly. The humiliation of needing 2 wheelchairs just to get through the airport, that's a level of embarrassment most of us can't even begin to imagine. But Kelly pushed through, driven by a sliver of hope that this doctor could be her last shot at a better life.
Now that I'm here, I'm just feeling really overwhelmed, and this is really embarrassing. Because I'm in 2 wheelchairs, my legs wouldn't fit on the one wheelchair I was on. So I feel like everybody's staring at me, but I'm just really in pain.
When she finally weighed in at her first checkup, the scales groaned under the pressure of 725 pounds, with a BMI of 117. Even Dr. Now was shocked, and he's seen it all. He hit her with a strict 1,200-calorie diet and told her she needed to drop at least 100 pounds per month. That's like asking someone to move a mountain with a spoon. Could Kelly do it? Could she conquer the beast that was her food addiction?
To 726 pounds, and you have a BMI of 117. That's almost breaking the record for the highest I have seen yet. So I can tell you right now that you're likely already in very critical condition with all that strain on your body. And that's a situation that we have to turn around immediately. I can see from your chart you have developed a number of serious issues already.
Yeah.
Kelly's story turned out to be one of the most inspiring in the show's history. Not only did she meet those impossible goals, but she smashed them, losing over 200 pounds and earning the green light for weight loss surgery. And here's the kicker. She didn't stop there. She kept shedding weight, eventually hitting the milestone of 401 pounds. But life isn't a fairy tale, and despite her incredible progress, the shadow of her health complications never really went away.
320 pounds at this point.
Great.
That's good progress for you.
Yeah.
All right, Kelly, I'm proud of your progress, okay? All right, can you tell your ability to walk and how better it is?
Yes and no.
Well, if you start walking and doing more exercise, you're going to get better stamina. All right.
It's because I have to think when I walk now. I guess I'm trying to waddle.
In a cruel twist of fate, Kelly Mason passed away in her sleep from a heart attack in February 2019, just 10 months into her transformative journey. She was only 41 years old. Her death is a brutal reminder of the long-term effects of severe obesity. Even with significant weight loss, the damage to her body was too great to overcome. But let's not forget her bravery and the fight she put up. Thanks for joining, folks. If you were inspired by these stories, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more amazing content. Do not forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. Share your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from you. Until next time, stay motivated and stay strong.
Exactly what the time of death was, but it seems like it was a natural cause of a heart condition.
I just received a call from a medical examiner to inform me that late last night, it appears Kelly's heart gave out. Okay, thank you. Come considering the condition that Kenny's heart has been in, this news is not completely unexpected.